Welcome back to Mike and Dylan Hate Drama, where we give the people advice.
The best advice that's ever been given on the internet or Spotify or Apple Podcast or YouTube or where else are we? Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Podbean. There's so many ones, and I'm just like, that's the name of a podcasting website. We should have started recording 2 minutes ago because we did a banger joke.
Dylan I don't think we can repeat it.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, can we? Fuck it. Yeah. You only live once. And apparently we could say and do whatever, and YouTube just like, this is all fair.
So my joke was that Mike's top of his head was like sticking out of the frame, and so I was like, you must have grown. And he's like, I grew a little bit. And I was like,
I grew a little bit, Papa. I'm a growing boy.
And then I said, he's a grower, not a shower.
Yeah, that was yeah.
But then Mama said, I'm a grower, not a shower.
Yeah. So then Dylan was like, Forrest Gump was really close to like becoming a serial killer. Because, I mean, he was. He goes to war, and he's already like super autistic and shit. So he goes to war, and his best friend dies. And we were really close to getting, when Bubba died, that's when I started molesting the women. The only way I could get over it was to chop off their heads.
Make lamps out of their skin.
Yeah, sometimes I'd wear the skin and pretend I was Bubba.
I would tuck my balls between my legs.
But apparently they said that was racist. I think the racism is like the last thing that
yeah.
I love when people bring up how like they were like, was this some form of racism by Jeffrey Dahmer? And I'm like, that's the last thing we worry about. Once you're trying to people up and
Mike and Dylan Hate Drama.
I always feel like there's like a breath there, and then you always that's when you start going again. I thought the joke was done, and I was like, oh, perfect timing to throw an intro.
That's how my brain works, though. It's like when I get the joke out, there's more joke.
Yeah.
So I try to get the leftover joke out when it does that, but now Dylan wants to organically put in the intro, so he's just like, he's holding his finger there for like, he's like, Mike's about to take that pause where I can hit this, and
haven't timed it out perfect yet, but we'll get it there.
All right, so our first submission comes from Frank, and the title says, Am I the Asshole? Are you the asshole, Frank? In November of 2024, I picked up a second job at a billion-dollar retail chain. I worked in frozen every weekend and picked up extra shifts. Everything was fine. I worked 7 days a week between two employers until September of 2025, when I was wrote up by the assistant store manager for not working in a walk-in freezer where I had to crawl over carts just to get in. She didn't like that I chose to work in the live load trailer, even though OSHA would disagree. Fast forward to November of 2025, I got there at 7 a.m. on Sunday and was told to work in the live load trailer. We just got 7 inches of snow overnight, and it ended up falling in the live load trailer, hurting my back and ribs. Nothing was broken, but when I came back 1 week later, the same assistant store manager asked me if I had any pre-existing conditions that I was on strike to. I hate this lady, and I don't care if she knows it. I have gone down to 1 day a week because I want nothing to do with the employer who doesn't appreciate their employees, and I'm not about to work for someone who is going to try and torch my credit, clearly trying to hold me responsible for a bill they want to get out. I was seriously offended when she asked me about pre-existing conditions and can't stand her. Why would you be an asshole?
Not a single bit.
Where I got hurt, and then I was like, I'm scared to work here, so I only work 1 day a week. But am I an asshole for cutting back my time? I think you should quit. Yeah. Find another employer. It's them billion-dollar companies that don't care about you. Like, you got a better chance of getting a little bit of care if someone who runs the company is there every day, and they're like, man, that guy's a hard worker, and that's when you can kind of throw in that undercover boss lingo. It's like, my brothers, when they were born, they were completely flat, and we had to, every day I had to wake up and inflate them and blow them up like balloon animals, and then they would flatulate everywhere around the house, and that's how I got them to the dinner table so they could eat the porridge that we had every single day, because that's all we could afford. That's the person you give the little sob story to, the guy that's raking in all the big bucks. Billion-dollar corporation, the person who owns the company doesn't even really own the company anymore. Now it's a publicly traded company. It's a council of 70-year-old men that's like, I don't understand how everybody's not millionaires. When I was 14 years old, I started shining rocks for the kids in the neighborhood, and by the end of that year, I was a millionaire.
Yeah, it's just owned by BlackRock.
Yeah. BlackRock or P&G, and I think P&G is owned by BlackRock, but yeah, it's like 4 companies that own all the companies.
And they own each other, so it's really just kind of one company.
Yeah, it's just one company, but they don't want to say that because then people start throwing around that scary word monopoly, and that's not us, and now we have to kill you, so.
Yeah, there's nothing in that story that makes you the asshole other than that you still work there. Maybe that might.
But we're going to call you the asshole because there was, nothing there, so we're just going to assume you meant because of something you didn't type that was very dastardly. Sorry, Frank.
All right, so I'm gonna go to one of the ALO submissions. ALO. I don't know how to pronounce your name. If you give us a pronunciation guide, we will say it right the next time. I'm gonna go for the creepy encounter.
I was about to say go for the creepy encounter one because I saw that one out of the links and I was like, ooh, do that one.
So this one is about sleepwalking roommate. I recently acquired a new roommate. The entire situation should have never happened, but that's written weird. Okay. The entire situation should have never happened, but I needed someone to help with rent. So, a Craigslist posting later, he moved in. His name was Greg, and he discloses to me that he did have some strange sleeping behaviors, sleep talking, sleepwalking, and night terrors. Funny thing was, I also had a history of sleepwalking, but only on rare occasions.
All right, so listen. I want to be a roommate, but I have some terrible habits, okay? So sometimes I sleepwalk, and then I also sleep masturbate. You're like, whoa, what is this?
Doesn't everybody sleep masturbate?
Yeah, what's the second one? It's like, well, sometimes you're going to wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm just going to be jacking it right above your head. But I'm asleep, so really I don't know that I'm in a horny state, so it's going to be soft, okay? And I got a long-ass soft. So it's just all you're going to wake up to is the loudest schlicking sounds you had ever heard, and then me just fucking, it's going to be looking like I'm fighting with a giant earthworm just right above your head.
My eyes will definitely be closed.
No, they won't. They'll be open and staring directly at you, but I want to assure you 100% I am asleep.
So what's the differentiator? If you weren't asleep, then you'd be hard, but since you're asleep, it's soft?
Yeah, if he was awake, because in his dreams, so what happens is, in his dreams, he always is in a civil war, okay? And it's a muzzle loader. And he thinks he is vigorously loading a muzzle.
Does he never shoot it? He
No.
just keeps loading?
Yeah, that's the
Just
nightmare.
can't get it fully
in a
loaded.
nightmare, when you try to run or something, you can't run well. If you try to punch, it's like pillow punches. And this one, the muzzle loader will never really load. It will never really get to where it is firing. Yeah. So he's just sitting there. And look, he's got to stop the South, okay? He really loves black people. So he's really got to stop the South. And he's just going at it. I mean, loading that muzzler as vigorously as he can, and he sees him approaching, so he gets quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker, and then
so in his dream
it's still boom goes the dynamite.
But in his dream is like the muzzle on the gun just like
it's flopping. It's like melted aluminum. That's why it's just flopping everywhere. So he's like trying to get it in place and everything like that.
It's like a fucking spaghetti noodle.
Yeah.
All right, so the first incident occurred about 1 week later when I heard him screaming in the middle of the night. Since we both slept in separate rooms, are you clicked on this thing?
No.
Reading? Oh my God, dude. It says, since we both slept in desperate rooms on different sides of the house. Desperate, not
English
separate.
might not be their first language.
Doesn't give you the excuse.
But if they said English wasn't my first language, you're about to read some Oxford Dictionary.
Yeah,
fucking
the best.
Yeah. The most beautifully fucking presented essay you've ever seen in your life.
Everybody can hate AI. That's fine. You can hate it. You can love it. You can do whatever. This is the perfect, which I think this one's like a little bit older, 9 years ago. So yeah, they couldn't throw this thing through AI. But this is one of those cases where it's just like, maybe you just have the little robot tell you which words need to be replaced here. All right, so since we both slept in separate rooms on different sides of the house, the screams sounded distant, but enough to scare me so much that I ran to check on him. As I'd get closer to his bedroom, he'd stop screaming, so I just went back to bed. I think you just complete the thought and get there and be like, hey, bud, you okay? Thought I heard you screaming. Wouldn't you? Or would you turn around and go back to your bedroom as soon as he stopped screaming?
I don't know.
You woke up in the middle of the night to screaming. Are you just literally just going to walk halfway to his bedroom and then he stops screaming, so you're just like, all right, I'll go back to bed now?
No. This is the last night that our roommate partnership is going to be live. I don't care what kind of lease it is. Somebody's leaving. But no, I'm waking you. Well, they say they get violent if you wake them up.
I mean, poke him with a stick or something, like from the closed door. Just, hey, bud, you okay?
If somebody was sleepwalking and told me that, they was like, look, I get real violent. Well, I'm gonna hit you. You're gonna get hit with a 3-piece because I ain't no bitch. So I'm sorry. Sleep.
Knocking you to the ground, and then you hopefully wake up from that.
That's right.
For the next month, he had no issues. I noticed he had no friends or family that would visit, and I never saw or heard him on the phone or texting. Then another random night, Greg started screaming. Same thing. I got up and started to go to his room, but he'd stop.
What I like to imagine what this is. This is like what kind of screaming is it?
Don't touch me, Pawpaw.
Yeah,
I'm just a friend.
Did something happen in your past with you and your grandpa? No, grandpa was a great guy. You sure about that? Like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I block out as a child, just because
I don't remember the ages of like 3 to 7.
Yeah,
Those are a blank. But
really, my memories start when my papa died. That's my first memory. It's like, well, but I think you need to do some hypnosis or something because papa did something to you.
All right, so then one night I was awoken by screaming in my bedroom. I couldn't see anything in the panic, so I turned on the bedside lamp, and he was at the foot of my bed wearing some sleeping clothes, athletic shorts, and a t-shirt. It scared me, so I started screaming and woke him up. He apologized and went back to bed.
So he's just at the foot of the bed, just.
That's the immediate time, like you're moving out. Like we're not doing this anymore.
Heel to mouth action's going to happen first. That's what's going to wake you up, and then in the morning I'm like, listen, I'm sorry I kicked you in the face, but pack your bags and leave.
Then the scariest thing happened. About 2 nights later, I woke to clanking. Sounded like tools and hammers tapping. I turned on the light to see Greg kneeling down in the corner working on something with his hands. A few seconds after turning the light on, Greg froze, then slowly turned his upper body around and started blinking at me while I laid in bed.
Nah, you lying, dog. You a murderer, and you're just like, this.
And then I had to kill him.
Yeah.
I was beyond creeped out, so I slowly slid out of bed and left the house. After sleeping in my truck down the road in an empty church parking lot, I returned to the house at about 8 in the morning. Greg was gone. All of his belongings were gone. No signs of him anywhere. It was like he never lived there. I didn't know any of his friends or family, so I had no one to call about him. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. When I moved out after the lease was up, I was moving furniture out of my bedroom. In the corner of the room where I last saw Greg kneeling down, I realized the floor vent for the air conditioning was loose. Inside the floor vent was an envelope with a ton of pictures of me sleeping. The pictures had handwritten dates and times written on the back of the pictures. The only other item was a whittled down wooden broom handle brought to a point. I truly believe Greg was preparing to kill me that night, and he realized it because it was the sleepwalking Greg that was going to do it. He left to save my life. It appears Greg had been coming in my room almost nightly and working on making the broom handle a stabbing weapon, and I never heard until the last night I saw him.
What the fuck? All right. Well, it's not me that wants to kill you. It's
just when I'm sleeping.
Yeah, in my dreams, you are Dracula. You are a menace, dog. Like, you are terrorizing the village, and I'm this hero. And then I wake up, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I was going to kill this dude. I realized it a couple months ago that I had, in my dreams, a plan to murder you in your sleep, but sorry, bud. It's like the people that were hiking on that mountain, and they see someone just standing out there, and they all yell for him to go away, and they're like, "What? That was weird." And then that guy killed 2 people at a campsite down the road. Ooh.
He's gonna sneak up and kill him. And
so I'm gonna tell y'all something scary that happened. And it's not happened since, so I don't know what's going on. But I'm laying in bed, and my daughter, if I'm like, all right, look, it's 9:30, family don't want to go to bed, I'm tired, I've had a long day, I'm gonna go lay down. That's when they're like, hey, 9:30 shower sounds great right now. Also, I'm gonna use mom and dad's bathroom every time. That's the only time they use it, I feel like, is when I lay down at night when you should be sleeping. But she goes and she's taking a shower, and it's one of those where you kind of like fall asleep, but you're half asleep and not asleep. So I hear, hey. I'm like, hey, hello. I'm like, what do you want? Just tell me what you want. And then I hear the shower turn off, and she goes, "Dad," from the shower. And then she walks out with a towel around her, and she was like, "What girl were you just talking to?" And it was a girl voice that I heard. And I was just like, nah, this is just, I don't know what happened. Maybe I was like half asleep and I was like, "Hey," making the girl voice myself or something. I don't fucking know. I don't know how I rationalized that shit, but I thought she was standing at because it's dark too and I can't see shit. I thought she was standing at the bathroom door talking to me. Chills. Especially because she was like, "What girl are you talking to?" "You. I was talking to you." And then you just turned out the shower and came out the shower. "I don't know what you're doing. You got some crazy projection going on." Yeah, did not like that. It's not happened since, so I'm not going to say haunted. But it felt like I was haunted a little bit in that moment.
So there's a news article about 7 criminal cases that invoked the sleepwalking defense. Like people that Massachusetts versus Terrell in 1846. Albert Terrell was acquitted in the murder of a prostitute in Boston. Nah, that motherfucker.
Yeah, what?
I ain't paying you for sex.
And you know the detective that put that case together is like, oh my God. But that during that time, I mean, you could literally be like, God came down to me, and they're like, "We've got our best God expert, God coming down to people expert," and he says, yeah, all the other accounts of him hearing that God came. It sounds plausible. So
see, this is where Grand Theft Auto got their concept for the prostitutes in their game. But it says Terrell slit the woman's throat, almost decapitating her. He also set fire to the brothel, then fled to New Orleans, where he was arrested. His lawyer stated that Terrell was a chronic sleepwalker and perhaps committed the crime while asleep.
Perhaps, like the lawyer didn't even know. He was like, "I don't fucking know. Perhaps, maybe he did this." Perhaps is a crazy word to use,
especially as being a lawyer.
Yeah, and then to fucking let somebody go on a perhaps.
The jury agreed and found him not guilty. Although many contemporaries didn't buy the defendant's version of events, the Terrell case is thought to be the first U.S. legal case in which the sleepwalking defense was mounted with success.
Jesus Christ.
Now we got the Fane versus Commonwealth.
Dylan's going through all these, by the way.
I mean, it's a great topic. So.
It is, yeah. Fuck yeah.
Fane versus Commonwealth. This classic case in the 1870s. What's up with the 1800s?
And what is this classic case brought to you by, like, what the fuck is that?
All right, this 1870s case involved a man who fell asleep in the lobby of a Kentucky hotel. When a porter shook him to try to rouse him, the man drew a gun and shot the porter 3 times. While the porter held him on the floor, the man repeatedly yelled, "Hooey! Hooey!"
I'm looking something up on my phone. Continue.
He reportedly rose, left the room, and told a witness that he'd shot someone. When told who it was, the man conveyed sadness. The shooter was found guilty of manslaughter, but the conviction was reversed on appeal. Evidence that he had a lifelong history of sleepwalking and that he'd been had been sleep deprived before the attack was excluded from the first trial. All right, so then we got the State versus Bradley, number 3. A Texas man testified in the 1920s that he and his mistress were preparing for bed when he became alarmed about an enemy who had made a threat against him. Fearing a secret attack, he went to bed with a pistol under his pillow. Later, roused by a noise, he jumped up and fired shots. When he found himself and got reconciled, he lit a lamp. His girlfriend was dead at the foot of the bed. Bradley was convicted of murder, but the conviction was reversed on appeal. The jury hadn't been informed of the possibility that he could have been asleep and have fired the shots without volition while in a somnambulistic state. I guess it's sleeping, somnambulistic. I don't know. What you looking up?
Oh, just get done with this because you talk about crazy cases. I'm going to tell y'all some crazy shit.
All right, we got the Regina versus Parks. Kenneth Parks, a young Canadian man, was acquitted in the 1987 murder of his mother-in-law after using the sleepwalking defense. On the night of the death, he arose from bed. What? How's this motherfucking getting off? Listen to this. On the night of the death, he arose from bed, drove 14 miles to the house of his in-laws with whom he was said to be close, and strangled his father-in-law until the man passed out. He bludgeoned his mother-in-law with a tire iron and stabbed them both with a kitchen knife. The woman died. The man barely survived. Parks then arrived at a police station. Police said he seemed confused about what had transpired, and they noted something odd. Parks appeared oblivious to the fact that he'd severed tendons in both his hands during the attack. That obliviousness to pain, along with other factors, including a strong family history of parasomnias, I don't know how to say that. Led experts to testify that Parks had been sleepwalking during the attack. Not conscious, not responsible, not guilty. How's that work? Drove 14 fucking miles to go kill his in-laws.
But he was sleeping
He was sleeping.
the whole time.
14 miles of driving.
Pristine driving, too.
Canada.
That'd be some Canadian shit. Hey, well, we don't want to call him a liar. You know, he just seems like a good old guy. Who are we to say that somebody's lying? We'll just let him go. Well, what is this all about? Bro, we were doing a trivia thing, and me and my two oldest kids were. And if you missed the question, you got tickled. We're all super fucking ticklish. So I get one, and it's like, what is Canada's national animal?
I don't know.
What would you think?
Beaver, maybe?
Just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You knew
Is
that.
it really a beaver?
Yeah, it's really a beaver. I said moose. Because dog, why not? Like, it's a moose. They ride mooses and shit. You know what I'm saying? They ride mooses into battle.
I don't remember it, but it feels like I've heard that it was a beaver.
But no, it was beaver, and I got tickled. And I'm like, they're wrong. It's a moose.
Well, see, that seems like a dangerous game for you since you really hate being tickled.
I fucking hate it.
That seems like a...
But we all hate being tickled. That's what's good. That's what, it puts pressure on it, too. And it was like a minute timer. It was so fun.
I think that's enough of these stories, though. We can move on to your cool story.
So, I don't know a bunch about my family history. And yesterday, while filling out these passports, I was able to piece a lot of stuff together. So, because I had information now. Like, I never knew my grandpa's name. They were always like, he was from Scotland or whatever. I think it might be her dad. I don't know. But it's definitely not her husband. My grandma's original husband they had. Because remember, Papa was like stepdad to all the kids.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So I found out his name, and then he owned a place called Mike's Bar in Chicago, because that's where my mom was born, was in Chicago, Illinois. So, and he was born in San Francisco. I was like, he was not Scottish. If anything else, I can understand why y'all got divorced. That was a good joke, man. Because gay people be in San Francisco?
Yeah, but what's that have to do with Scottish?
I don't know.
Can Scottish people not be gay?
I don't know. I've not seen them. I to my recollection, I've never seen
That's gay Scottish man.
That's right, yeah. And if that's the case, I've never seen a gay Scottish man and Batman in the same room. So, is Batman a gay Scottish guy?
Might be.
Might be. So he owned this place called Mike's Bar, and like there was some crazy shit about it. I was like trying to look it up and stuff because I knew nothing about this guy.
Was it a gay bar?
No, but apparently like there was Mike's Bar down in Chicago during that time because it was in and definitely in 1967 he owned Mike's Bar. But like there was a bunch of crazy shit that happened there. Now, my grandma, I told y'all, I think I spoke about it on this one, how my grandma had went to the hospital about something. And she remembers sitting in the lobby, and she was like, I remember sitting there, and there was this guy, and he was just ugly as all hell. That's what my grandma thought in her mind. She was like, God, this guy is ugly. And she was like, the next day, that guy had murdered some nurses at the hospital. That was Richard Speck. In 1966, murdered 8 nurses. And the day before, my grandma was in the lobby. He was in the lobby, like, watching the fucking people there. And the next day, he came back and killed 8 of them. I was like, oh, my God, this is so much cool stuff, crazy shit. Like, so now I kind of got, like, more information from doing those passports, which, if you've ever done a passport application, good God, you fill out a sheet, and then the next sheet you fill out is all the same shit but more. Like, it's like, all right, you gave us what we wanted, but now give us more details, but also the same details you wrote over here.
Write it again.
Mm-hmm. And the first time I did it in blue ink, and I take it up there, and they're like, you can't do these in blue ink. Why have blue pens out here, you fucking bitches? I really did, because my back was already hurting. And
Tell them how you hurt your back.
Oh, yeah. No. See, I was leaned over a fucking thing filling these out. That's what like started like the back tightness. But then when I went to go get out of the car later, when we got to the Register of Deeds office, because we had to get marriage certificates, because she was like, you got to prove that their last name was changed for some reason. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm getting out of the car, and I just turned my legs out before my body, and my whole back was just like ripped in half. I couldn't breathe. I was sitting there like, oh, my back. It still hurts right now, but not as bad as it did yesterday. But yeah, I thought that was some crazy shit. This is the guy right here. I'm going to show you. Which I saw his picture. I was like, Mama, you a little bit little bit rough on the guy.
Yeah.
I don't think he's like ugly as all hell, but
Creepy looking, but also because you know that he killed 8 fucking nurses.
yeah. But so on 11 p.m., July 13th, 1966, he broke in the townhouse in Chicago's Jeffrey Manor neighborhood and was functioning as a dormitory for the student nurses. He entered, and I'm not going to read any of the details, but he then murdered 8 people. And I was like, God, that's fucking crazy. They got some fucking lore. Now I got some lore to all this. I don't have any Pawpaw lore, though. I mean, I know his sister was heavily mentally handicapped. And then I know that their parents were like real molesty towards them, which I guess.
You're talking about step pawpaw?
Step Pawpaw, yeah. Yeah, regular Pawpaw, I don't know. Like factual Pawpaw, I don't know shit about that guy. I just learned his name. His name's Michael. I was like, how did I not know that I shared the name with, which my uncle's also named. So that was, I guess, because that he is the oldest out of all of them. So I guess he was the junior out of everything. But then I didn't know anything that, because they were like, he's from Scotland. And I looked at my grandma's birth certificate or not my mom's birth certificate. And I was like, no, it says he was born in San Francisco, California. So unless there's a San Francisco, California, Scotland. That's, yeah. Aye, very popular. Also full of gays. Just some crazy shit, dude. I was like, my fucking mind was blown. But she kept telling me that story. So when I was looking it up last night, because then I was like, okay, she was in Chicago in 1967. So I'm like, Chicago nurse murders. And July of 1966. That's when it all happened. And then my mom was born in the hospital a year later.
That's crazy.
That's fucking wild.
I don't have any stories like that from my family.
That's dope, though. I learned that. I was like, ooh, look at this family history. Like, my grandma saw a murderer. Dope. And it's like you meeting that old lady and her saying that she's, what'd she say, 1/4 Cherokee?
I guess, yeah, because she said her grandma was.
They love saying that, man. You run into a white person in the South, they'll be like, yep. White is a sheet of paper. White is a sheet of paper with brown hair. And they'll just be like, I'm 1/4 Cherokee.
Yeah, usually they're like half. And it's like, no, that was your parent, your mother or your father full? No.
Yeah, look at them. I got a picture right here. And they just show you another whitest person you've ever seen. See, it's like Cherokee, Apache, any of the easy ones. Like if someone's like, yeah, I'm part, and they say a tribe that I've never heard of, I'm like, probably.
See, we had the Iroquois up north. That's what we had.
And then everybody was Iroquois?
Well, I mean, most of the people that I...
Was it your uncle that said y'all were Iroquois or something?
No. I think... I don't even know how it all works. But, with my family, my dad's dad, left. So, that family history kind of disappears as soon as he's gone. Because, I think my dad was, 3 when he left. So, you don't know anybody on that side of the family.
Your dad walked out on your family when he was 3? I'm just kidding.
My grandpa, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know what to call him because, my grandpa is my dad's stepdad, but he was always called him dad because he actually showed up for him. So my dad was like,
"Oh, my grandpa showed up for me.
I only have the
showed
one.
Up for me, buddy."
I don't have any connection to this other guy that I come from.
I love how it seems. He's like, you just call him grandpa, and then it's just like, well, he wasn't blood related to me.
Yeah, but he was the guy that showed up. He was the guy that took care of him.
Yeah, my grandpa was the guy who was there, so he was just papa.
Yeah. Well, and he took good care of my dad. My dad always looked up to him and really respected him. So
right.
It was one of those things where he's the reason my dad is who he is. So, but yeah, a lot of that history is completely lost to us. But my dad has brothers and shit that are younger than or the same age as my brother, which is weird because I guess he was.
But does he have brothers?
No brothers.
No, you come from a very, very white place. Yeah, me and Dylan were comparing small towns that we came from.
There was no black people.
Which I didn't come from. I didn't come from Denton. I just lived there for 2 years. And I was like, Denton's very small. And then he showed me his village. It's called a village. And I was just like, man, there was it was only whites.
Well, I mean, there was Hispanic people, and like, I mean, there was a few, but there was not until you went over to like the cities next to it. Like, there was no black people. I mean, in like other towns that were slightly bigger than ours, there were some black people, but in our specific town, I think now there are, but at the time, like all through school, for my time in school, I think there might be like out of the couple hundred kids, like 400 kids in the whole school, K through 12. I think there might have been like 3 or 4 black kids.
That's crazy. I went from the hood to a sundown town, so that was a big shock, big difference. And I remember the funniest thing too was I started going there, and you know, stepdad's dad was Ku Klux Klan, and he was like, "Yeah, that all that shit that you got into in your old school, that ain't gonna fly here because there's a bunch of country boys." Cornbread fed country, but some of the easiest fights I ever been in a school. Just the easiest fights. I mean, sure, y'all, there were some of them that were like some thick boys. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know how to fight at all.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to fight. As soon as you headbutt somebody, they're like, "What's happening? I didn't even think you can use your noggin in that." And then, but that is where I started hearing shit like, "Well, it's got to be a fair fight." What the fuck's a fair fight? You trying to hurt me? Like, and I'm trying to hurt you. What the fuck is a fair fight? Ain't no fair fight.
Yeah.
If you're beating my ass, I will bite your dick off, dude. Like, there is no fair fight here. You have no power here. Like, no, there's no. I fought a kid in the bathroom, Spaz. I remember he's the first kid I ever hit with a knee. I hit him with a knee, and he goes back and he's holding his nose, and his back hits the wall, and him and like 7 other people start going wall, wall, wall. What the fuck does that mean? I'm like fucking Leroy Jenkins combo breaker on this motherfucker while he's on a wall, and everybody's like, "Dude, you can't hit somebody when they hit a wall. This ain't fucking NASCAR. What are you talking about? There's no wall clause." I have never been in a fight and someone's like, "All right, here are the rules."
Wall.
If obviously they break out this piece of paper and it's like fucking this whole booklet, and it's like right here, page 16, section 4, clause 16. If someone's back hits the wall, you must stop and wait for them to come off said wall.
There wasn't a lot of fights where I grew up, and they were all just like very quick, short.
It was the funniest fight I ever been in too, because dude was wearing like some long ass pants, and his pants start going over his shoes. He's kind of short too. He's kind of short, and I remember he punched me in the ear. Which, if you get punched in the ear, yeah, it hurts. Like, but it's not like game-ending fight. And I remember everybody went like, oh, he just got him. Like, it was like the most mind-boggling shit they ever seen in a fight. And I'm just like, really? I mean, yeah, you're going to get punched. I'm not a goddamn fucking boxing master where I'm bobbing and weaving every goddamn punch, but I don't feel like I'm thinking that too in my brain in this. I'm like, I feel like we're overreacting with that punch. And then I hit him with the knee, which is a way cooler move to hit somebody with in a fight. And everybody's just like, too much, man. Wow. Wall. And then everybody starts screaming that at me. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought they started making police noises. Wall. I was discombobulated from that fight happening. But you know how that fight started? That kid, we were sitting in class, and he looked at somebody, and he was like, "You want to fight in the bathroom?" And they were like, "No." And they were just like, "Oh, yeah, me, I love just getting into fights, man. Fighting is it's my passion and all that shit." And then I'm like, oh, God, what a dork. That's what I'm thinking in my brain. I'm not going to say anything because I'm like, this dude does look like the type of fucking just Neanderthal brain guy that would be like, yeah, let's fight. Then he looks at me and he's like, "You want to do it?" I'm like, fuck. I got all this ego and it's not even like I want to do it. And if it was now, Mike, I'd just be like, dude, fucking dork. Like, what a dorky thing to do. But I was just like, yeah, sure. This is like he's like, I punch middle for fun type guy, you know? That's what my love is, to just punch stuff. I love punching bricks. I go home and I punch bricks all day. It's like, dude, get some pussy. Yeah, get some pussy. But then
punch that with your tongue.
We went and fought, and I was already like short leash, kind of. I had gotten to a fight a couple days before. This big dude, big fat guy, Cameron, he had done something like 2 days before where he grabbed my backpack, and he was somebody that I called a friend. Like, he was like, we joke around and stuff like that. But I'm walking by, and he like grabs my backpack and pulls it as I'm walking. And I'm laughy joke type situation. I do it to him 2 days later in the morning. And dude, he just like immediately like throws a punch at me and then grabs me. And he's a big fat guy. And so all I could do, he grabs me and puts me up against the wall. And I'm kind of confused and heartbroken that he got this mad over like something. A joke that he did. But I wiggle one arm out and then I'm like elbowing him. So we go to the office and they're immediately, we go to class after everybody's just like, they just got into a fight. They're telling all the teachers, they just did that. Oh yeah, fucking cornbread fit. This is where violence happens at in the country schools. Country schools full of violence. No, the fuck it's not, because everybody was snitching. You go to a black school, nobody says anything. They're like, fight? Nah, nobody. We was dancing up there. If you got into a fight, everybody just be like, nah, we was dancing. We was just acting like we was playing basketball or something. There, they were like, oh, ooh, they were fighting. Bullshit. So we get called to the office. They have the camera, but they don't have the camera of us fighting. They have the camera of the glass ball that looks to the corner that can see a ruckus going on. And they're like, what were you doing? And I was like, oh, we were like, because me and Cameron had the same class. And I'm like, dude, just say, we were fucking just wrestling, play fighting. So we get in there and he's like, yeah, we were wrestling and play fighting. And she's like, really? Because it looks like y'all were fighting. He's like, yeah, we were. No pressure. There was no pressure. She even said it in a kind of, because it looks like you guys are fighting. Not like really? Because, man, it looks like you guys are fighting right there. What really happened? And then she was just like, because it looks like, he was like, we were. Sons of bitches. All right, so our next submission is from Donuts. It says, my balls. I'm a 45-year-old man. Married once when I was 22. My wife was 23 and already had a 5-year-old son. She got pregnant on our wedding night and we had a son. She insisted that I have a vasectomy or we get a divorce. Yes, Mike, I was a little bitch. She then insisted on getting her tubes tied. If I only would have known. I really want to get my tubes tied. I already have a vasectomy.
I just got to get my tubes tied.
Yeah, we're going to have to.
Double insurance is the thing right there.
We got divorced anyways a year and a half later. She was a dirty, cheating whore. Okay, so makes sense. That's why she wanted the tubes tied after you got vasectomy. So I don't recommend vasectomies for anyone. You know that feeling of full horny balls and shooting a 10 roper on a face? Then you just feel empty in a good way and satisfied. That's gone. But back to my question. I've always had exceptionally big, meaty clackers. With 22 years of vasectomy, my balls are almost non-existent. Think I should get implants. I miss my boys. Kind of embarrassing when hooking up with a new chick. Mike, shut up and let Dylan speak his turn too.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not a... It's just, it really is who I am. I'm just, we're in a conversation. I'm having a good time talking. I don't mean to do it. Dylan still loves me at the end of the day. So I want to have the wherewithal to look at Dylan. So when he tries to talk, I shut up.
I know, like, it's definitely like a porn thing and guys like to do it, but I'm sorry. If it's between me just enjoying the finishing wherever it's at, I'm taking that over pulling it out and dumping it anywhere else. Like, I'm not the 10 roper on a face. Nah.
The thing is, though, I don't know. It's like danger now. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, the danger's not really dangerous. It's just kid going, good job in a play where when people are trying to do a performance.
Well, see, I've got a vasectomy, so it's never danger for me. Well, I never went back and got checked to make sure I don't have any swimmers left, so it is kind of, I'm playing the lottery, but.
I do want to see when I die how many people like try to take air, try to take claim to the throne when I pass away. Maybe there'll be some new ones. They'll be like, well, actually, that was your dad. Nuh-uh. They can still DNA test even if I'm dead. I'm gonna leave a bottle of sperm. Billy, this is for the ones who try to lay claim to what you got.
The Jon Snows.
Yeah, the Jon Snows. Which Jon Snow wasn't his kid.
Wasn't Ned's.
Yeah, that'd be weird if it was my sister's kid though. Makes sense for how big she is though. God damn.
Yeah, no, I'm a advocate for the vasectomy, but that's just because it is easier to not have to worry about it. I know it can be faulty, but yes, if you get a vasectomy and then your wife wants to get her tubes tied, she's doing some shiesty shit, guaranteed.
All right, I have my next story, but it's your turn to read a story.
Are you picking one, the next one in line, or?
Yeah, because there's a shout out in it.
Which one are you picking?
G-Cut.
Okay. All right. So I'll read Dave's Digging Up Mommy Issues.
Dave Bautista. That's the funniest shit. My favorite video. Every time I see it, it just fills me with so much just funniness. It's what's his name from Texas? Turned to a bitch when Donald Trump talks shit about his wife.
Oh, Cruz?
Yeah. Ted Cruz. There you go. When Texas is in trouble, he's in the Bahamas. Never forget Texas. That's what happened. That's y'all's representative.
I think he did come back like soon. Like I think that one criticism is actually not a valid one. I think he did come back like as soon as
that's the craziest shit too, is like, if someone were like, oh yeah, it's wintertime, I'm gonna go to a place where it's hot. I don't know if we knew how bad that winter storm was gonna be, because it killed a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody knew how bad it was gonna be. I think they kind of did. I think it was kind of news leading up to there. So that is kind of fucked that he would be like.
Wasn't he like a senator though? Like, I mean, he's not even like the governor. Like he's not technically one of the people in charge. Like he goes to Washington more often than
that would be
like
Texas, would be the way people treated it was like war is coming to our land, and the president's like, well, I'm going to be in Jamaica while this war happens.
That sounds like
that 100%. Yeah. Fuck that. They're coming over. I saw all the airplanes. They're jumping out with their parachutes and they're killing everybody on the land. And I couldn't do it.
I will return after.
They had accuracy, beautiful accuracy.
No, and like, I mean, I am not at all a Ted Cruz fan. I think he was a bitch when like they were standing on a fucking debate stage. And
yeah, you talk shit about my wife. Now that's the crazy thing too. At that point, you should have known politics of old don't work anymore. You got to throw hands.
Yeah, I think Ted Cruz probably could have pulled something off there if he beat the old guy's ass at that time. Like, he probably could have.
But it was Ted Cruz talking about his father, who was a war veteran. And they was like, he got captured and held hostage by Batista. And then it always jumps to like the wrestling Batista doing like his little power bomb shit. And like, that's my favorite edit.
So this story is from Dave.
I'm gonna show it to you. Look, shut the fuck up. Look, I'm sorry. Dylan's gonna get to his story. We're gonna let Dylan read his story, but I gotta show him. Ted Cruz Batista.
Could probably do it even.
My father was imprisoned and tortured my father was imprisoned and tortured in Cuba. I hate communists. It was actually Batista that tortured my dad.
Oh God. It was actually Batista.
I didn't realize it was that new of a interview. Because that was when he was talking to Tucker Carlson.
I don't fucking know.
All right, so submitted by Dave, Digging Up Mommy Issues. Hello, Mike and Dylan. I'm a 43-year-old male with 2 kids with my wife of 20 years. We are happy for the most part, enjoying the life we've made for ourselves. But here recently, my mother is wanting to bring up old issues from my childhood.
Later, bitch.
Some backstory on my childhood. My mother left when I was 6 and my brother was 9. From then on, we were raised by my dad. He worked a lot to get us what we needed, and he was always there when we needed him.
Chad.
Right after my mother left, we would see her every other weekend until about a year later when she had a boyfriend who made money selling drugs. That summer, when the fair came to town, they decided to get jobs with the fair. Carnies.
Look, if anybody was like, dog, I'm talking about my childhood and how rough it was, and it was like, well, my parents were carnies. I'm gonna stop, because you probably went through some crazy shit, dog.
Are they juggalos now?
You have to be. That's the only logical step forward after carny.
We're recovering carnies. Now we're juggalos.
We got to do that skit with the fucking.
We do. We should. And the thing is we could make it like really fucking like
cinematic now.
Cinematic. Yeah.
No put on face. No put on face.
All right. When the fair left town, they went with it. For the next year or so, we would get an occasional phone call from her. She would tell us what state she was in. They're just trying to get free travel. That's it. Like that. When you work with the fair, it's free travel. You just go around and.
See, I started thinking though, and I'm like, skits like that's what we kind of like should be doing. Just like those very high quality skits, we only do like once a month. Yes. And it is like the most banger of a fucking skit that we can do. Because something like that.
That's what I've been pushing for. That's my goal. Like, that's why I don't want to do a bunch of the random little shit. Because, like, I'd rather invest our time doing that type of shit. The high end. Very well put together, very well shot, very well scripted, very well edited.
Well, I have a notebook for it.
You got a couple of them, yeah. Eventually, her boyfriend got in trouble with the law down in Florida. How do you get in trouble in Florida? Like, that's like the carny capital of the world.
Yeah, that's the place where they're just like, look, we got so much other shit. We got this guy down here who is fucking in alligator infested water, and it's like, oh fuck, you gotta save him. It's like, no, we gotta save the alligators.
Yeah, exactly.
He's killing the fucking gators.
He's fucking them before he kills them. Like,
He's fucking the gators before he kills them. Alligators have holes. He makes them and then fucks the gator.
and then he gets head from them, and I don't know how that works, but all right. So they quit and moved closer back to us. Next thing we know, she leaves her boyfriend. About a month later, she tells us she is married. Her husband is an alcoholic truck driver. How does that go together?
Truck drivers back in the day just used to be tweaked out just the whole time.
Yeah.
And that was like the golden age for deliveries. Like if you got a delivery, it would be there on time. And he'd be like, yeah, I got 4 more deliveries. I got to go to California. Then I got to shoot over to Nevada and then, make my way to Montana. It's like, fuck, that's going to take you a while, day and a half.
Yeah, I dated a girl, and her grandpa was still a truck driver. I mean, he was in his like late 60s, early 70s. And it was about the time that they were switching over to like electronic logbooks, but they still had the ability to like keep a regular logbook. And he was telling me how like they'd have like multiple logbooks so they could run like, 24-hour shifts and shit like that, like all hopped up on whatever speed that would get you to
Back
keep
in the
going.
day, you get that shit at the gas station, the good energy stuff with ephedrine in it. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I
That's
drove-
why we're lazier now, because y'all took ephedrine away.
I drove 24 hours from Denver, Colorado, all the way back to Greensboro, North Carolina, without sleep, without stop. Like I stopped to get gas and go to the bathroom, and then I bought some like those stackers, I think in like Illinois or something like that. And then I took one, and then I was still driving, and it was like I took one at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then at like 4 or something, I was like, I could probably take another. So I took another one, and then I was like, no shit, that was only like an hour ago, and then my heart started pounding, and you get the anxiety. Not that it's actually like, it probably is bad for you, but like I ended up taking too much in too short of a time, and I was like, I'm gonna have a fucking heart attack. Oh, I'm just gonna drive through it. And then I drove back, and it was snowing in Greensboro when I got back.
Nice.
Which was crazy. In March. All right, so now she drives across the country with him in his truck a lot. We get to see her once a month or so, and if we ever stay the night at her house, her husband is usually drunk and angry. When I was 16, I decided I'm not going over there again. Fast forward to now. My mother comes over once a year for my daughter's birthday. While she is here, she is very narcissistic. She happily talks about herself the whole time she is here. Sometimes she never even asks anything about how her grandkids are doing. And at some point, she tells people, I did the best I could to provide for my boys. I just laugh in my head and move on. Well, 3 weeks ago, she got in an argument with her sister. My aunt went off on her about how she was a bad mother to us, and we did so great because of my dad, and he did the work for 2 parents. She then calls my dad. He thought it was hilarious that she really thought she was a good mother to us. He then goes on to tell her all the stuff she did wrong and how she never gave him child support or paid for anything we needed growing up. Now my mother is suddenly sending my brother and I messages about how we should get together and talk about it. Nope. You had your time. My brother and I, neither one want to do that. We both have good lives and don't see any reason to dig up issues we moved on from. My mother is 66 years old, and we were fine with her spending the rest of her life believing she was a great mother. Plus, I believe she will just make this discussion about herself. My brother thinks she will use this discussion to somehow make herself look like a victim. My wife, as Mike would say, is a big booty Latina
Good job, brother.
and has strong family values. She thinks we should show her a little respect and hear her out. I would love to just let this stay in the past. I would like to hear your opinion on the issue. Big fan of the podcast. Thank you.
It's always such a terrible thing too, because like anytime you engage with someone who's trying to tell you like the past wasn't bad enough, it's really hard to dead the past. So I mean, I think that it would be valuable to have that conversation with your mom, because your mom is a very selfish person. And just be like, hey, when I was a kid, this is how I felt. And then your brother say, hey, yeah, when we were kids, this is how it felt like to us. You know what I'm saying? Just say, this is how it felt like. Don't say this is how it was. Just say, this is how it felt like. And then if she's just like, well, it wasn't like that. I was really out there. I was handling business for you guys. Then just don't fucking interact with her.
Yeah.
Like you can, I'm all for. I tell y'all, you know, I had a good time, you know, taking my mom out yesterday. There is someone that you can say, hey, you know, what I went through was fucked up, and they can be like, yeah, and I'm sorry for that, you know. But if she was just like, oh, y'all had a great childhood and we gave y'all everything and all this and just making up shit and you can't. Well, my mom's pretty much not really a, you know, in the drama type person. If you try to tell my mom drama, she's just gonna be like, I don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, handle it with them. So I don't get a lot from her anyways. But if she was like sitting there steadily talking shit and stuff like that and, you know, talking shit about the dad who helped out, which I didn't have that, then yeah, just go no contact. It's just the easiest thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think for anybody, I think your wife wants you to do it. So if you want to go ahead and have that conversation to make your wife feel better, I don't think you're doing it for you or for your brother. If you want to like tell your wife that you tried, go for it. But outside of your wife giving a shit, there's no reason to even like engage that at all. Like, cause you
Ain't
don't,
no reason to be mad at your wife either, because she comes from probably a good family. Sorry for cutting you off.
well, and that's the whole thing is like your wife sees some value in it. So to make her, and not that you have to do it to make her happy, but like just to let her peace be had, like you go ahead and try to mend whatever fence, like be like, Mom, you were a fucking shit mom, but like we don't care. You're here now. That's all that matters. You can't go back and fix anything. So like do whatever you want to do.
Right.
But like now matters. The past doesn't. So no, you were not a good mom. Like be honest with her and you can have all that out. And then, you know, if she doesn't want to take any of the blame for it, she doesn't want to like step up and be like, you know, I should have done better. I should have helped your dad pay for you guys. I should have done. And like, if she doesn't have any of that remorse and she wants to play the victim, then you can write her off and be like, sorry, babe, she didn't want to play ball. So cut.
Right. Yeah, I think it's just, you know, wife probably has a very good, solid family. She's like, I just don't see why you can't forgive your mother. Because she could probably only think of instances where the parents fucked up, you know, one time. It was one situation, and then she got over it. So that she's just combining your whole childhood into one situation because she wasn't there to live it. So
Sounds like you had a great dad, so congrats on that part.
yeah, solid dude. I bet that jawline was rigid. That was a hard-working man. So our next one, probably the last one we're going to do for this episode, is from G Cut. And it says, time I fucked up by having a toxic best friend. This is currently what Dylan's going through right now. So maybe a little of this will give us insight to Dylan's story.
Hey, I noticed you didn't tell anybody to follow. It's like you don't even love this podcast.
Oh, guys, yeah. Hey, listen, if you are listening to this podcast and you are not followed, please follow. It helps out tremendously. Also, if you have not rated the podcast, do that. It really does help us out. Helps us go to sponsors and say, hey, please, money, please.
No, we've heard your podcast. We can't give you money.
Yeah, that's essentially what it's going to be.
Did they hear how we started this one?
How did we start it? I forgot.
The Forrest Gump shit.
Oh, yeah. And that's when I started molesting women. Yeah. We are our own worst enemy.
We are.
Look at that.
It's okay.
Hey, Mike and Dylan, love the podcast. I've submitted before, but it's been a while, so here I am. About 2 months ago, I ended my friendship with my best friend Joseph, and honestly, I feel like a weight has been lifted. A little background: 9 years ago, I became friends with my sister's husband's friend, Joseph. Things started out great, and we quickly became best friends. But over the years, I started noticing some things. His poor money management meant he was constantly borrowing money, and he always had an excuse for why he couldn't pay it back. That sounds like my family. Can I stop being family with my family? There was one instance where I was working at Goodwill and riding the bi-weekly struggle bus, and he asked to borrow $15 until payday. I told him I'd do it, but I said, I'm going to hold you to your word. This is coming out of my grocery budget for lunch meat next week. He agreed. He never paid it back, and it became a whole thing because his wife, Megan, who never liked me to begin with, actually said he knows we have kids, right? As in, that it's supposed to be the reason why I shouldn't expect my money back after he gave me his word. Fuck Megan. We stayed friends for a few more years until about 2 months ago. I was trying to sell a laptop and giving him a detail because he was my friend, or giving him a deal because he was my friend. I'm dumb. That doesn't even say detail. My brain just made up detail. He asked to see the specs, which is fair, but then Megan wanted to make sure it wasn't janky. That set me off. I take excellent care of my electronics. I sold him things before, and they were always in perfect condition. I told him, forget it. I'll sell it to a pawn shop. About a week later, I had a phone plan with my name with Joseph and another friend on it. A bill pulled early, and I texted both of them just to give them a heads up that the phone might be off for a few days until I got paid. Joseph responds that he needs a phone, and I told him I was working on it, and I always have. I even covered him before when we didn't have his portion, and then he comes back with, well, I'm not happy about this, and neither is Megan. Who gives a fuck, bitch? Like, I don't answer to Megan.
Get your own phone plan.
Yeah.
Go get your own. That's fine.
Megan ain't gonna like this. Okay. Tell that bitch I'll kick her in the pussy.
Tell her to pull up.
Yeah, pull up. Kick you right in the pussy, bitch. That was the final straw. I snapped and I told him I don't give a damn what his wife has to say. She has treated me like trash the entire time we've been friends, and I've tolerated it for the sake of our friendship. That turned into him threatening to physically assault me and insulting my weight. So I blocked him and have never looked back. A little more context on just how one-sided this friendship was. When he was homeless, I let him live with me rent-free for 2 months. All I asked is that if he couldn't contribute to rent or food, could he please help keep the house clean, dishes, vacuuming, that kind of thing. He responded to me by telling me I was all the worst parts of having a girlfriend. I have Asperger's.
I think he wanted to like get some loving from you.
Right,
I think
yeah.
that's what he. Like,
Yeah.
He was all the worst parts, but he doesn't get to have any loving, so he just wants just a little.
He's like,
bit
at
of-
least let me suck your dick. God damn. What? You have no idea what a girlfriend goes through. She goes through all that, and then the guy's like, you want to give me a blowjob?
lick my stinky balls.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. Give me that unenthusiastic hand job, just where you act like your wrist hurts. You got to have more dexterity than a minute. Like you can't be going a minute and be like, so painful. I have Asperger's, and I've always struggled with making and maintaining friendships. But after talking it through with my sister, we both agreed my life is better, and it's his loss. Thank you guys for listening. Keep up the great work on both podcasts. I listen to them both during my 8-hour shifts at my security job. You guys have such authenticity and realism, and that's what makes the shows so unique and genuine. Well, it also makes it why millions of people don't want to listen to us, but we just need to do it, man. We need to sell out and just be the wow, that's such a tough situation to be in. I was just like, oh, I don't even think I could give a side on this because of such toughness. Instead of us being like, well, you got to kick her in the pussy. Like, it fucking. One day, I think the world will normalize and then people will be like, what a gem this was. I'll already have been dead. I got like maybe 2 years before my heart just.
I think there's plenty of people out there that just don't know about us, and it's one of those things where once it is found, we will have that same success.
And that's up to you guys to be like, hey, you wanna listen to something?
Somebody's looking for a true crime podcast on Reddit. You suggest this one, even though it's not, or Two Daddies Judging
Right. Oh, I
Buddies,
see you want true crime. Oh, I see you want something about the struggles of France during the Franco-Prussian War.
Have you checked out Two Daddies Judging Buddies?
Yes, Two Daddies Judging Baddies has a really good take on, or Mike and Dylan Hate Drama.
Well, yeah, both of them.
Yeah,
But
you fucked me up
just
on
suggest,
that.
You just suggest both of these
Yeah.
random ass podcasts for any. I need some self help, something to like really help my business grow. Have you checked out Two Daddies Judging Baddies or Mike and Dylan Hate Drama?
There's a shout out at the end that says, oh, and if you wouldn't mind, shout out to my sister. Jessica, I love you. You're one in a million.
Let's go,
Now,
Jessica.
is that his words or mine?
Both.
Am I confessing my love to your sister?
Yeah. And she's one in a million in your eyes.
Yeah, you guys, what she look like? One in a million. Yeah, I mean, you got to be freaky looking.
Well, it's his sister, so he's saying it in a very nice, genuine way.
Right, yeah, but if
How
somebody's
are you
one in a
saying it?
million, that's not a beautiful thing. Like, one in a million means you're fucked up with something.
No, it means that she's a very special person. To him.
I know, no. Look, there are nice people are more nice, beautiful on the inside and out are more than one in a million. One in a million is somebody that's like doctors were baffled forever to get this fucking diagnosis.
I mean,
because it's
that's
so
a
rare.
you one in a million. Like you're a one in a million along that
So
side. but
I
she's a
assume
one in a
that
million.
Jessica's skin doesn't grow properly and that she has sleeves of just flesh that show. I don't know. But Jessica, you're one in a million and I love you. So
And so does G-Cut. G-Cut loves you.
yeah, G-Cut probably loves you a little bit more than I do, but
For Mike's sake, so that his wife doesn't kill him.
yeah, my sister's actually Jessica Alba. Well, then G-Cut, I'm sorry.
We all love your sister.
Yeah.
She is one that I don't know where she's at these days. She was at the Super Bowl, but
Was she? I wonder what Jessica Alba looks like today.
like Jessica Alba did 20 years ago. She is a beautiful woman.
Yeah, my God.
I-
Dear Heavenly Father.
I fell in love with her when she was on Dark Angel. That was the first time that I had seen her, and she is a beautiful woman.
If your sister's Jessica Alba, I really, really do. I love your sister. Okay. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Remember, as always, we love you so much. And if you're feeling sad, talk to somebody, okay? Because we can't lose listeners right now. Guys, we love you so much, and we will see you next time.
Later.